Welcome everyone to this week's Unmanned Tactical Group and Pilot Institute's Public Safety UAS News Update. This week, we're going to talk about the Aloft and drone responders partnership that they just formalized. We're going to talk a little bit about the FAA's General Council's updated opinion on the state and local regulations that certain places may be looking to implement about UAS operations in their jurisdictions. We're going to talk about the ACLU, who just recently issued a report based on drone as first responder best practices and what they would like to see regarding policy and use. Then we're going to wrap this up with Fire Department New York, or FDNY's crane and fire collapse response that they did a little bit earlier this month. It's going to be a great week. Looking forward to having the discussion. Let's dive in. First up, we're going to talk about the Aloft and drone responders partnership. This collaboration will see Aloft providing complimentary access to Aloft Geo. This will allow all public safety agencies in the nation to publish public safety data directly into the Aloft platform, including before you fly. By providing this free access to Aloft Geo, this will enable first responders to operate drones in emergency response and mission-critical scenarios to increase safety and improve situational awareness. Aloft Geo will enhance safety and improve operational coordination by allowing these public safety agencies to publish air and ground advisories directly through Aloft Geo. This will enhance safety by making sure that all of the citizens and anybody that's wanting to fly drones, they can go through and check to see, hey, is there a public safety event going on right now? Should I maybe wait to fly these drones and help deconflict that airspace ahead of time? I'm looking forward to seeing how this collaboration is going to work out and enhance safety across the United States. Excellent partnership. Next up, we have the FAA's General Council updated opinion on state and local regulations regarding UAS. They essentially stated that states and local government may not regulate in the fields of aviation safety or airspace efficiency, but generally may regulate outside of those fields. A state or local law enforcement entity will be preempted if it conflicts with any FAA regulations, as they have the jurisdiction there. They also stated that the state or local laws affecting commercial UAS operations are more likely to be preempted as well. It's important to note that they're essentially saying that the FAA is the entity that has the jurisdiction and the ability to impose regulations on aviation. Now, this doesn't mean that state and local entities can't issue laws on where people can launch drones, but once those aircraft are in the air, there's extremely little that these state and local entities can do in regards to aviation safety and operations. So this is a good one to look at if you are a public safety entity and you are talking to some of your legislators inside of your city, county, or state. Be sure to pull up this new updated opinion and provide that to those individuals so that they can be up to speed on the latest opinion from their general counsel. Excellent work. We're looking forward to seeing some more opinions coming from general counsel, specifically related to UAS. Last in the public safety news update, the ACLU issued a report on drone as first responder policy and best practices. This was a lengthy report, and it was honestly a great one. They put up some really good points in here about what some of the best ways to utilize this so that you can safeguard your agency from utilizing drone as first responder in a manner that your citizens may not approve of. So we're going to dive a little bit into some of the recommendations that they made, but I highly recommend you download the report, take a look at it, and adjust your policy as needed that's going to best suit your agency. In accordance with some of the guidelines that ACLU brought up. One of those items that they brought up in the best practices methodology is usage limits. They recommended that you shouldn't be running the drone as first responder program just carte blanche. They want you to have strict limitations on how often are you going to be flying it, when are you going to be flying it, what areas are you going to be flying in it. They wanted to make sure that you're not going to be utilizing this system to be focusing on underprivileged subdivisions or underprivileged areas of living under the guise of routine operations or random patrol, which makes sense, right? We want to make sure that we're utilizing the drone as first responder not as a proactive entity, but as a reactive type response. to help safeguard some of those concerns. There are a lot of ways that the Drone's First Responder Program can certainly benefit with personnel shortages and things of that nature, but we want to make sure that we're doing this in a safe and conscientious manner. So usage limits is a good thing to pay attention to. When, how, and how often that DFR program is going to be leveraged, it goes into those usage limits. That's very, very important. Make sure you have that in your policy. Make sure that you are really paying attention to not necessarily replacing utilizing the drones in regards to, say, like a beat cop running around in his vehicle. We want to make sure that we're utilizing these in a proper manner. Next, transparency. One of the big things that Unmanned Tactical Group harps on whenever we talk to any agency or we're doing our supervisor course is transparency is what keeps programs alive. You have to make sure that you are overly transparent about what your program is doing and how it's operating. One of the big things is the equipment. How are you utilizing that equipment? What type of equipment do you have? What can it and can it not do? What does your policy say? Have your policy on your agency webpage so that it's easily downloadable and everybody can see it right there front and center. Have the performance and the results. Is your DFR program successful? That should be a no-brainer, and that should be built into every policy anyway. You have to market your DFR program to show that the investment that the taxpayers have put on a DFR program is worth the investment, right? And then finally, video public of interest. This is a huge one. So you don't want to release those videos of somebody that may be in a medical event, having a medical event, right? But you do want to seriously consider releasing some of those drone footage from the DFR program that might have videoed critical incidents like officer-involved shootings and things of that nature. At the end of the day, you want to make sure that you're utilizing the DFR program in the same manner that you would any other camera, right? So this is essentially just an aerial camera. Treat it the same way you would a body cam, a dash cam, things of that nature. If releasing those videos is appropriate and it would not interfere with the case in any way, then those videos need to be released as well. So that's very important to make sure that you're utilizing some of these methodologies so that you can safeguard your program. Privacy rules. You want to make sure that you have those retention policies and those recording policies. When are you going to record? When are you not going to record? One of the things that Chula Vista does that I think is a great methodology is when the drone is flying to the incident, they don't have that gimbal down at all. It's zero at the horizon. So they're not even looking at anything on the way into that to get on scene for that event. I think it's a great way to help safeguard people's privacies. Data sharing and retention. You want to make sure that all of the data that information is collecting is going to stay within the agency as it should, right? If you're utilizing any type of private companies, that's also very important. You want to make sure that that data is not being openly released to those companies so that they can do what they will with it. You want to make sure that that's staying in-house and staying within the confines of your agency so that you can control who has access to that data and do they ever need access to that. I think the ACLU did a great job on that report. Well done. I look forward to working with the ACLU a little bit more with more and more agencies that are moving forward with the Drone's First Responder Program. Last but not least, we have our agency highlight. For this week's agency highlight, we have the Fire Department of New York, or FDNY's crane and fire collapse. On July 26th, the FDNY responded to a crane that was on fire. Eventually, the crane got compromised and started to collapse. FDNY did an outstanding job putting people where they needed to be to get water on top of all of the fire on a very elevated position. It was quite a thing to see. They put a lot of video up there on social media. Highly recommend you take a look at it if you haven't seen it already. But one of the great things that they utilized were drones. So they put up equipment like the DJI M30 and several other aircraft from shore to get aerial perspective of that event so that command down on the ground could make tactical decisions on how to best put that fire out safely so that nobody got hurt during that event. Excellent use of your resources. Well done, FDNY. Real proud of y'all to seeing how y'all are utilizing drones for critical incidents today. That's it for this week's Public Safety News Update. Make sure that you're paying attention to the webpage at unmannedtacticalgroup.com. We have a lot of opportunities for classes. We're looking for host agencies for 2024. So if you would like to have any type of class ranging from Part 107 all the way to flight operations or counter UAS operations, we would love to come to your area and host one of those classes there. We also have a couple of conferences coming up that we'll be attending at. We have the Law Enforcement Drone Association National Conference in Bend, Oregon, coming up September 26th. That's going to be an outstanding hands-on flight operations conference. I highly recommend, if you are a public safety entity, specifically law enforcement, to get registered for that. That does fill up. We also have the Interpol Drone Expert Summit coming up in October 23rd and 24th. What's great about this one is we're focusing on DFR for that event. So we're going to have agencies from all over the world coming in and talking about how they're doing beyond visual line of sight operations for public safety responses in DFR operations. It's going to be a lot of fun. Pay attention to the website, and we hope to see you on the next one. See you later, guys.